We're here for another edition of the Outlook series, and I'm your host, Mike Lippis. Automotive manufacturers are facing substantial challenges. Manufacturers are contending with increasing demand for battery-powered and plug-in hybrid vehicles. Automakers need to revise vehicle lineups and retool entire factories and production lines to meet regulatory mandates. Labor shortages are an issue as supply chain problems ease and factories ramp up production to meet the pent-up consumer demand for new vehicles. These trends are placing pressure on businesses that supply parts and systems for automotive manufacturing. The need to integrate production and delivery schedules is becoming more critical than ever. Now joining us to discuss voice-enabled technology for the automotive industry is Bob Bova. Bob is the President and Chief Executive Officer of AccuSpeechMobile. Bob Bova, welcome to the Outlook series.
Thanks, Michael. Good to be here.
So now, Bob, many businesses have been facing ongoing supply chain problems and dealing with COVID-related labor shortages for the past 2 years. Can you give us a sense as to why this opens the door to automated workflows that use voice-enabled technology?
Companies that are in the supply chain, any supply chain, auto parts, food, anything, right now are having a big problem trying to find enough people to get the throughput that they need. So a voice automation technology and automating the workflows will increase their productivity and reduce the errors, and also, most importantly at this point, onboard people faster. So they can, utilizing voice automation and now vision with products like the Zebra HD 4000, can see pictures of products, where they're supposed to go, and they hear it. Some folks are auditory, some folks are visual learners. So the whole idea is to increase the productivity, eliminate the errors, and try to make the workflows as seamless as possible in terms of getting product to the customers as quickly as possible.
All right. Now, can you give us a brief rundown of how voice-enabled systems work and how they impact efficiency and accuracy?
That's a good question. The difference between a legacy type of voice-directed work system and actually voice-enabling and voice-automating workflows is very different. When you voice-automate a workflow, you prompt workers with verbal instructions, with a headset and a microphone, but when they actually say something, an utterance can trigger many, many things. It can fill out forms entirely. It can take a barcode scan and hold it and then use it later on. It can basically take a look at to make sure that they're at the right location. So the entire idea is to make the workflows that are accelerated and correct every time, because the workers are hands-free and eyes-free, and a lot of capability and a lot of instruction and a lot of data collection happens in the background. So things like hearing error messages or being able to preload barcode scans or preload data, or even for exceptions, all that can happen when a worker just says one thing. And this allows them to continue to do what they're doing, to stay on task, and also it makes them a little bit safer because they keep their eyes in their hands on the work that they're doing.
Now, Bob, manufacturing plants and warehouses can be relatively noisy places to work. Does the AccuSpeechMobile technology have any special features that make it a better choice for loud manufacturing environments?
Absolutely. The headsets that we use have pretty sophisticated noise-canceling technology, and we also have some noise-canceling technology in the software application itself. So when you pair that capability with the new rugged mobile devices, especially the Android devices that are made specifically for these environments, that combination of those three technologies allows most all environments to be able to utilize voice automation on the floor. And there's some noisy places. We're near very high decibel box cutters and wire wheels on wire mesh floors, and it can get really loud. But we can also tailor the implementation for the customer depending upon how loud their facility is.
What kind of productivity gains can businesses expect to see if they switch to an AccuSpeechMobile solution?
I hate to be wishy-washy on this, but the fact is that we usually see somewhere between 15 and 42%. And it all kind of depends on how much of the workflow we can automate, and it also depends on how much error reduction we can do, and also how much less rework, and also if you're restocking, how many steps we can skip, how many things we can preload. So each organization that we work with in automotive or food or clothing, whatever, they all have their own workflow processes. Most of these companies have worked very, very hard in optimizing their workflows. So what we try to do is we try to take a 25-step process and make it a 7-step process. And in that, we give us the opportunity to really get specific productivity increases. One of the things that we do here is we have a very detailed ROI calculator. So we can work with companies and take a look at their past metrics to see exactly how their throughput is. And then we can put in things and make what-if scenario statements to say, okay, if you get 15% productivity improvement, your ROI on this project is going to be X. But if we get 22%, it's going to be Y. So we really work hard with the customer to try to get them a reasonable, measurable metric on their investment and when they can expect to be cash flow positive.
All right. So, Bob, can you give us one or two real-world examples of specific workflows that illustrate how voice technology impacts productivity?
You bet. And these are relatively straightforward ones. Most of the voice automation that we do is in a picking environment, whether it's piece pick, case pick, whatever. But these two examples are a little bit different because edge-based voice automation can be utilized for any warehouse application or even outside the warehouse, mobile inspection, maintenance, and repair as well. But these two, for instance, one of our customers has a huge facility in Chicago, and they take in raw materials and they make their products. They box them and they ship them from all the same locations, over 1 million square feet. And one of the biggest things we helped them with was receiving all the raw materials, because they'd get huge pallets and pallets and pallets of raw materials, and then they would have to fill in a form for every single barcode scan that was on that pallet, and there would be all kinds of different things. So what we would do is if the pallet had all the same material on it, they could scan it, and they would have to ordinarily load or fill out a form. We, once they scanned it, filled out the entire form automatically once the first one was done. And by doing that for the raw material receiving, we saved them 111 workdays in 4 months because all that was automated. And that was receiving, which was a really interesting case. Another use case was shipping. So a customer of ours in Fort Mill, South Carolina, the boxes would come off the conveyors, and there would be 3 huge bins, one for FedEx, one for UPS, and one for a local shipper. And the workers would take it and scan it and look at the gun and see what it would say to put the box in the correct bin. And every year, 12% of them went in the wrong bin. All we did was pop a headset on the users, and they would scan it, and they would hear 3 times, UPS, UPS, UPS. And that little add-on, the arrows went to 0. And that's 12% of shipments that don't come back, that have to be restocked, and that go to the right person at the right time. So those are just 2 small examples, but there are many.
Now, earlier you mentioned easier onboarding for new employees. Can you explain why it's easier to train new workers on voice-enabled workflows?
You bet. The function of a voice-automated workflow allows for elimination of a user interface, so that you turn a 25-step process into a 5-step process. So they have to do less, which is terrific. So because everything else happens in the background. But it's also an opportunity to give someone new technology. And again, people genuinely like the fact that they're working for a company that may have cutting-edge technology. So when you have a voice-enabled workflow that is automated, and you can also tune it so that it can be in a training mode. So you may be on a screen and at an input field, and you can say things. You can say help, or what can I say here, or what do I do next? And it will actually tell you. You can say this, this, this. You're here. You need to scan. All that capability is available until that person gets spun up on the workflows and how they do their job, so that they're much more effective. So there's a lot of possibilities in terms of a training mode, a high-speed mode that companies can take advantage of to bring these guys up to speed as quickly as possible.
Now, AccuSpeechMobile is recognized as one of several leading suppliers in voice technology. And can you tell us what differentiates AccuSpeechMobile from a solution like Vocalect?
That's a great question. Vocalect and Lucas and Voxware are much more legacy type of technologies. They are server-based. They require integration with a WMS. Some of them require proprietary hardware, proprietary voice engines, and they take quite a bit of time and expense to integrate and actually roll out to the potential users. Anywhere between a year and 18 months sometimes. AccuSpeechMobile is a device-based, edge-based technology. There is no server, there's no middleware, there's no integration layer. Everything that we do is on the mobile device. And we support almost every mobile device that's out there. The old Microsoft CE stuff, Android, we even support iOS. So we can take advantage of everything that those very powerful new devices can do. And that's important because we support a multimodal input method. So if you have a barcode scanner, we'll voice enable that barcode scanner. If you want to use glasses, the HD 4000, we can support that. So all those technologies that are available on these non-proprietary devices are available to utilize with voice automation. And again, there is no high-cost change to core application. We never touch it. Whereas all of the legacy-based solutions like Vocalect have to have an entire integration layer that talks to the server, and it also increases the network traffic on the local Wi-Fi network because they have to continuously go over and go to the WMS and translate. And whereas we just turn it into a 1 and 0 at the device, and the amount of traffic that's on the network is the same amount of traffic that's always been on the network. So there is quite a bit of a difference. From a planning perspective, most of those solutions, actually all of those solutions, are just voice-directed picking. We have customers that have dozens of applications voice-enabled in the warehouse, shipping, receiving, 4 or 5 different types of picking, and that makes your total cost of ownership so much lower because you can get the advantages of voice-automated workflows for replenishment and cycle count and in addition to picking. So it's not just a one-trick pony. You can utilize voice automation on your mobile devices for all of your applications that make sense to be eyes-free and hands-free for automation. So it's the difference in the technologies from an architecture perspective is is significant.
Okay, Bob, how long does it typically take to deploy AccuSpeechMobile in a warehouse or manufacturing environment?
The average time from a customer saying we want to get started to actual production deployment is about 6 weeks. And depending upon how many applications we have to voice enable or how complex the workflows are, it could be up to 8 to 9 weeks. But it can also be as short as 4.5 to 5 weeks. And our methodology is pretty much the same. We go in for a week on site. We take a look at the workflows, how they're doing them, how they're optimized. Then we come back and we build a project. Then we go on site and we do what we're called user acceptance testing. And we work with 4 or 5 users, and we voice automate as much as we can. We get their input, and so for a week or so, depending on how many languages you want to support, we're on site and we optimize that, and then we finish it up, and then the customer tells us when they want to roll out and go live. And one of the biggest advantages of how it rolls out, and when you work with us, is it is not like the legacy type of systems where you just throw a big switch and everybody goes to voice directed. With our stuff, you can deploy one user at a time, one shift at a time, 1 hour at a time. So it takes a lot of the fear away from the folks who run the warehouses and the operations managers that think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? We can test this with 4 or 5 users for a week or two until it's absolutely optimized for what they want. And then they can bring everybody else up to speed, at any way that they want. The customer is actually in control of the rollout. And that's something that really differentiates us and that customers really like. So that's really kind of the model for how we do what we do.
How can AccuSpeechMobile help businesses make better inventory decisions?
Well, again, with the accuracy and the updates, it allows for real-time information. We also now have developed a very, very straightforward reporting tool that everything that our voice touches, everything that we pick through the application that is utilized with AccuSpeech, we now have reporting for. So we can show our customers everything that was picked, who picked it, where, and all of a sudden they can take that and add it to a lot of the other information that they have on their back ends, and take a look at what the inventory cycles are, what the cycle counts are. That's information now that we're providing to our customers, and it's real time. So that's information that as stuff is picked, it's loading into basically a web service somewhere in the building, and they can just take a look at it real time. So we're trying to give our customers more visibility and more information as they pick. And in fact, we're installing that at a customer this week. And it's not, honestly, it's not particularly sophisticated. It's just a listing of what we're picking, when we're picking it, how many, and just basically putting that in a table so that our customers can see it. So hopefully that helps. But companies we deal with now have extremely complex what-if scenarios in terms of inventory decisions after everything that's happened with COVID and the supply chain challenges. They're utilizing tools that are, far and above what we provide, but we just try to help. We're adding a little bit more information all the time.
How customizable is AccuSpeechMobile? Is it a one-size-fit-all solution?
See, the one-size-fits-all really kind of talks more about the older legacy types of systems. I mean, they do voice-directed picking one way, and they try to make it fit how you do what you do. With us, we take a look at the workflows that you're currently using or the ones that you want to have that are going to be optimized for how you do your business. Then we voice automate that. So we try to make it, everything that we do is unique to every customer we do it for, because everyone does everything their own way. Again, we've seen most of these organizations optimize their workflows, so the last thing we want to do is, tell them. And of course, we make recommendations from a consultative perspective. We do see a lot of things, and there are some things that we can do that we can share. But for the most part, our solution is customizable every single time for all of our customers. And it's not as if that is a lot of work. Our technology is specifically designed to make that easy. So we really try to exploit the knowledge base that's at the customer and just make it better. And that's what we do.
Let's take a look at safety, Bob. Now, do voice picking solutions offer any benefits to worker safety in industrial workplaces?
I would say unquestionably yes. One of the things that voice has always done is allowed workers to keep their eyes on what they're doing. And whether it's in a warehouse and inventory, or whether it's mobile inspection, or whether it's manufacturing, keeping your eyes on what you're picking, what you're turning with your wrench, what you're measuring, and what you're collecting the data on, always allows you to be heads up, looking around, being able to do what you want to do instead of having to look down at a screen or filling out a piece of paper, or, it gives you the ability to not have to look at things and just keep your eyes up and what you're doing. So there is an inherent the safety add-on to utilizing voice automation.
Would you like to add anything else to our discussion before we wrap up for today?
Yes, the success of our company has really been accelerated with our proof of concept challenge. What we try to do is we try to talk to customers who really are serious about voice automation, and many have trepidation because of what they know from the past about server-based, expensive, and really kind of you have to, one way, you have to do it one way. And what we offer is if you really want to see the AccuSpeechMobile technology work and voice automate your workflows on your network with your WMS, call us and we'll have someone come and we'll make arrangements so that you can see all that happen in your facility. And that has made a big, big difference for us. So if you are interested and looked at it in the past and didn't think it was right, and you've got any kind of WMS, even if it's a homegrown WMS, we work with a lot of 3PLs really that have their own warehouse management systems now. And of course, the manufacturing facilities, they have very, very complex implementations of different applications. We really recommend that they call us so that we can go down there and show them what we can actually do in their environment on site. So that's I just want to make sure that folks know that they can reach out to us, and that's something that we can do.
All right, so where can our audience get more information about AccuSpeechMobile's voice picking solutions for automotive manufacturers?
They should just go to our website, AccuSpeechMobile.com. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook, and we're all over the place just like everybody else. And just type in AccuSpeechMobile, and there'll be all kinds of information to reach out to us, and also stuff that you can utilize inside your organization, and talk a little bit about what our capabilities are.
All right, Bob. Hey, I certainly do appreciate you joining us here for another edition of the Outlook series, and wish you the best of luck with your endeavors over there at AccuSpeechMobile.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us today, and be sure to log on to the Outlook series site for your business and technology news.